Hello. I have no idea if this works, so I'm gonna check myself. Okay, that's not gonna work. Okay, that's very annoying. All right. Yeah. Hi to me in my kitchen. So thank you for joining me on figuring out how live streams work because I would like to be able to do other things with my channel with my students. So it would be really cool if I could learn how to live stream something, let's say a lecture or something, and then go back later and edit or change it or just be able to stream it if I have kids who are gone or for the rest of the semester since we're distance learning. Super excited about that. So welcome to my 1962 kitchen. Hopefully my volume is good. And today I'm going to show you how to make my favorite muffin in the whole world, peanut butter muffins. So what I do to make these, it's really simple. The recipe, which I'll figure out how to link or something. I don't know. I'll get around to it. I'll figure it out. The first thing I did was wash my hands since we're living in the time of the plague and disinfected my kitchen and then wiped everything down because when you disinfect your kitchen, it's not good. Like you let it dry and then you should wipe it down just because that stuff like the residue isn't good for your food. So I have two very nicely ripe bananas. The thing with bananas is that the more ripe they are, the sweeter they are. So if you don't want your muffins as sweet or you're worried about your sugars, you can use less ripe bananas. So the more ripe they get, the more sugars they have. Also, pro tip, if you have underripe bananas and you really want to make something and get them ripe, throw them in the freezer for a little bit and then take them out and just let them thaw out on the counter and they'll be super ripe. So that's a little pro tip. I also use in this, I have all my ingredients lined up. I do, when I bake, is I get everything out of the cabinet. I'm really forgetful. I have raging ADD. And so, not the H part though, because oh no, I'm unstable. My connection is unstable. I hope it's fine. Hold on, maybe I should move this to a more stable location. This is my sink, so I don't know how stable that's gonna get. I don't know, it says I'm stable. I don't know, again, hopefully everybody can see me or hear me and my connection's stable. I don't know, it's a learning process. Anyway, now you can see my ingredients. So I get everything out and I stick it here, and then as I use it, I throw it back in the cabinet so I know that I've used it. So what I do to make these muffins is I first take my bananas in my mixing bowl and I mash my bananas up in my mixing bowl. So I just open them up. Oh, and I have a bag for trash hanging there because my trash is in my laundry room and honestly, that's kind of a pain. There, maybe that's a little bit better. I don't know. I'm not a YouTuber or an influencer, so I have zero idea how this works. I usually make fun of YouTubers and influencers, and here I am. I'm not trying to influence anyone. I'm just trying to YouTuber it. Okay, let's try this. Oh, that's better. Lighting. It makes a difference. Okay, so I have my bananas, and I just use a fork to mash them up. Nothing fancy. I'll show you what that looks like. The good thing about using ripe bananas is that it mashes really easily, which is really convenient. And if anyone's here, I think there's a few people here. I think there's 4 of you. If you have any questions, you can put it in chat. I can see the chat. So if you want to talk to me or ask me anything, you can put it in chat. Thank you. Thank you, Janelle. I appreciate that. Because my computer, since they've been giving out free internet, which is awesome, super happy that they're giving out free internet, I've just noticed that my connection speed isn't as good and the internet is sometimes slower. So every now and then I've been trying to do something, and when I'm in my office, I'm really close to the router, but when I'm in my kitchen, I'm on the other side of the house. So with the internet connections, sometimes it's a mess. Oh my gosh. So I'm such an idiot. This morning, I feed my dogs rice. So I put rice on. I walked away. I had it boiling. I walked away. I got distracted in my room, my office. I smelled something. I burned the rice. Darn near caught the house on fire. My husband's like, I thought it smelled good, and then it didn't. So luckily I saved it. If my mom is watching, I did not set the house on fire. See, the kitchen is fine, but I felt so stupid. I'm like, that's what I get for trying to do 3 things at once. I'm not even technically working, but I'm working. By the way, distance learning is harder than just going to work. The whole concept of distance learning is, it's way worse. I would just rather be at work with all my kids, with my friends. I will even take the people I don't like and still go. Like, if you give me a room full of people that I didn't even really care for, I'd still rather go. I'd rather be at work. But anyway, it is what it is. So, all right. So I have this. There we go. You can kind of see it. It's sliding. That's what it looks like when you get all mashed up. Put that there. Okay, so after the bananas, you want to put in peanut butter. So if you only have the sugar peanut butters, like the Jifs and the Skippies and all that crap, you could probably use it, but then I would omit the honey because that stuff has sugar in it. I use this all natural. I know it's backwards, but you get the drift. I use this all natural one. This, it doesn't have to be organic, but the grocery stores, they don't have much these days. So since the grocery stores don't have much, I take what I can get. Aw, thanks, Nick. That's really sweet. You would make a great teacher. You're such a cool kid. I miss you. I do. That one I knew for 4 years. He's a good kid. I'm gonna grab my scissors. So when you're at the grocery store right now, you're sort of taking what you can get. So this one is the organic version. I get the smooth. I think it makes a better muffin. I haven't actually tried the chunky one, but so I said this in a Facebook video I made, but here's the tip on these. So these are the ones that have the oil on the top, and it's such a pain to stir because the bottom is so thick and then the oil just oozes everywhere. So what I was taught to do somewhere, I don't know who taught me this, but it was a great idea. When you get home, store these upside down, and then the day you want to use them or like a day before, turn it back over, because what that's going to do, the oil is going to go all the way through. And when you turn it back, the oil is going to start coming back through. So that makes it way easier to start. For this recipe, it calls for 1 cup. Yes, 1 cup of peanut butter. This is a 16-ounce jar. I hate to wash dishes. I have a whole stack of dishes. I wash so many dishes. If I can get away with not washing dishes, I will. So it's way easier for me to just get this, because then I know when I've used half the jar, that's about a cup and I'm good to go. So make life easier on yourself. Trust me. It's hard to open. There we go. All right. So I have, where is it? Did I put it back? Ah, there it is. I have this. It's my favorite spoon to stir this because it's long. I don't know where I got this. I probably got this from my mother. Because it's like fancy. My mom gave me fancy spoons one time. I don't know why. Back in the day when people used fancy spoons. I mostly use disposable. I know it's bad for the environment, but I hate doing dishes. So when you get this, see, this stuff is really like smooth and, well, it's like, the consistency is much different than if you're using one of the Skippies and Gypsies ones. So I kind of prefer this. I know it has no sugar in it, so a lot of people don't like that. I haven't had sugar in so long, I don't even miss it. But if you wanted to switch and transition to eating a sugar-free peanut butter, what you can do is you can put it on something and then add a sweetener. So you could put it on toast and add honey, put it on toast, add maple syrup. If you're going to do maple syrup, get real maple syrup. It's super expensive, but it's worth it. I always try to eat like the regular product if I can. Just depends on how your body works with the sugars. I know some people don't do honey because they're vegan, and honey is a byproduct of bees. And I don't know, I was vegan for like a little bit and I still ate honey. Shh, don't tell the vegan police. All right, so once you get that stirred up, this is still never fun to stir. It's still a pain in the butt. So once you sort of get it in there, I just kind of scoop it into my bowl. Again, I don't really measure because I ain't got time for that. And I don't want to wash anything, so just that's about half. That's about half. So I will clean this up and put it back. I organized my kitchen because I love to bake. So I organized my kitchen to where, since this is my primary baking station, all my baking goes in this cabinet. And then this cabinet is used for like plates and stuff, and I have cups over there. But I made it to where I could just put everything back. I'm not running around my whole kitchen. I have this thing where I like to take the least amount of steps to get somewhere. I don't wear a Fitbit, so I don't care. But I don't like to backtrack. Like on my way home from work, I have a gas station I always go to. I always go to the Green Dinosaur gas station right across the street from Novi, because that's the one where I could just pull out, pull in, and keep going home. I don't like extra steps. So if I'm in my kitchen, I organized it to where I don't have to take any extra steps. You can say it's lazy. I say efficient. That's the word I'm going to go with. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right. So you just want to stir it all up to where the banana is like incorporated. I'll show you in a second. Hopefully, if any of my students are in here, I see like a few of you were talking. You're doing okay. I will set up something to speak to everybody next week, but I just thought this would be fun. More fun than talking about the news, because I'm over it. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's kind of thick. That's what you want. And then we're going to add the other stuff. So it calls for salt. I don't put a lot of salt in. This is kosher salt. You can use sea salt. I don't use a lot. You want a little bit of salt. It brings out the flavors. Adds a little something. I only put in like maybe half a teaspoon, give or take. Whoops. My bad. Just dumped everything in my cabinet. All right. And then in order to get everything incorporated, I always will add an ingredient and stir, add an ingredient and stir. I know a lot of recipes don't say that. If it's not explicit, like if it doesn't tell you what order to add stuff in or whatever, I usually will always do that. I'll add something and then stir it just to get it going and get it incorporated in there. A little bit of cinnamon, not a lot, brings out a little bit of flavor. And then we'll stir. Oh, that smells good. And we want a teaspoon of vanilla and a teaspoon of baking soda. So if it calls for a teaspoon of vanilla and a teaspoon for baking soda, the smart people use the dry ingredient first, and then that way you can use the same one without having to clean it for the wet ingredient. Pro tip. It's all about efficiency. All right. Put that in there. I have allergies, and it is not fun. And I know my mom's going to say, you never had allergies before in your life. Well, Mom, I'm old now. Now, I got me some allergies. It's how awesome getting old is. So that noise you hear is my ice maker. Spend $2,000 on a refrigerator and it's the loudest thing ever. All right. And then we're just gonna mix that in. If you don't have vanilla and if you don't have cinnamon, that's okay. You can still make these muffins. If you just had bananas, peanut butter, eggs, and honey, or maple syrup, you can make these. You don't have to add anything else. The cinnamon and vanilla I like to add because it gives it a little something, and the more flavorful, the more you want to eat them. So that's kind of what I do. So this recipe calls for 3 eggs. I'm going to do the same thing that, hi Mom, I know you think I'm funny. I'm glad that I amuse you since you said that I was boring in some of my other videos. Hi Mom. So I take the egg and I'm going to do the same thing I did with my other ingredients. I'm going to add one at a time. So this recipe calls for 3 eggs, and you're going to see how the thing that I like about baking is that you can see a batter completely change consistency, and just it takes on a life of its own just by adding 1 or 2 different ingredients. And I think that's so cool. It's very like sciencey. You think I'd like science more, but I don't. But I love to bake. It's like my biggest thing. And since I can't eat sugar and I can't eat a lot of desserts anymore, I've made it my life's mission to try to find baking things, like things I can bake and still fit within my dietary restrictions, because my diet is all wacky. And this totally fits the bill. So I'm very happy that I found it. Come on. I use these like organic fancy eggs. I really want chickens, but my husband has said no chickens because we have a lot of coyotes, and coyotes love chickens for din din. So we won't be getting chickens, but man, a few of my students in the past have brought me their chicken's eggs. So good. There is nothing better than a chicken egg to me. Like go out, get the egg, bring it back in. Best egg you're ever going to eat. I went to Oklahoma once, and they had a lot of fresh chicken eggs, and it was so good. They also had like cows wandering around, which was cool until you're trying to eat a burger, and like you go to take a bite and Bessie's like staring at you from the window, and you're just like, I'm not hungry. It was really weird. And everybody there just was like, oh, Bessie's delicious, and I couldn't do it. I'm not vegan or vegetarian now, but I can't eat a hamburger while I'm staring at what it used to look like, just like a chicken. Like I'm not gonna like grub down on a drumstick when I'm staring at, Clucky over here. I just couldn't do it. It's just not who I am. So okay. I'm glad you find me amusing, Mom. I thought that it would be a nice break from the stuff that everyone's watching. I haven't watched Ozark yet. My sister told me I need to, but I've watched The Tiger King. Crazy. That one was nuts. I've watched 90 Day Fiance, Love After Lockup. I am going to watch Love is Blind. I have not watched that one yet. I've watched a couple of serial killer movies. I rewatched Don't F with Cats. That one isn't crazy. I've really gotten addicted to watching YouTubers, and I like to watch reaction channels, and I'm addicted to it. It's like my stories. So my husband walks in, he's like, what are you watching? And I'm watching a person on YouTube talk about a person who's also on YouTube. And he just bounced. He's like, I'm out. That's too weird for me. And he went back to watching people play video games. And I'm like, it's the same thing. You watch a guy play video games. I watch this dude talk about this chick. It's awesome. But I'm super addicted to it. And I would love to do reaction videos, except I am pretty sure that my bosses would have an issue to me talking smack on people on the interwebs. So sadly, I will probably not be a reaction channel. But wow, it's my thing. I think it's because of this. So I am constantly looking at the news and the press releases, and I am analyzing documents, and I'm trying to get things from my students, and I'm the one answering questions from different people about different things. And so I'm constantly living in this like intellectual brain, and watching people just talk massive crap about other people or watching these reality shows, it's just a way for my brain to just turn off. And it's so awesome. There's just something about being able to turn your brain off and not have to think intellectually for 2 seconds. And it's just nice. It's nice because, growing up, I was always the smart one. And it's hard when I've talked about this with my students before. It's difficult when you're considered the smart one, only because you feel like you can never be the one who doesn't know. And that's sort of difficult sometimes. So if you are the one in your family who's known for, being the whatever one, we all have labels. It's just kind of difficult to try to break away from that label. And it's not anything bad. It's not like, oh, people are bad for labeling you. That's just what we do. And the labels usually come from what is in our nature. It's just nice to be able to step away from those labels and be something different for a while. So that's kind of nice. All right, so this is the batter that we're working with. There we go. It's a really nice consistency. It's just like any other muffin batter mix, even muffins from a box. And I know a lot of people are like, with the run-on stores, are like turning back into Little House on the Prairie and making all their stuff. But I've been making these for months now, probably a year now I've been making these. So I feel like I'm ahead of the curve, ahead of the trend. So I just bought this giant thing of honey. I really love to go to Tom's Farms, and I really love their honey section there. They have like local honey that is infused with stuff. So like I bought a cinnamon infused honey from Tom's Farms, and it was so good. It was so delicious. But for now, I haven't gotten a chance to get out. I'm trying not to leave the house as much as I can, trying to stay home. And so I just grabbed some honey last time I was at the store. So it says 1/4 cup. I just sort of swirl it in here, and that's it. I don't really go too crazy with the honey. I don't really need to, so make some room. There we go. All right, so then I just stir that in. Try to get it all incorporated. There we go. And it looks the same with the honey. It's just sweeter, a little bit sweeter. Okay, so now we have add-ins. So I made some with blackberries, and they were really good. The only issue that I had with the blackberries is that blackberries have seeds, and so the seeds kind of get stuck in your teeth, and that's kind of a pain. So I really prefer blueberries to blackberries or raspberries, but they weren't on sale, and I'm cheap. So I chose today to make some with nuts, and then I have this very expensive dark chocolate baking chips that are stevia sweetened. No sugar added, so they use stevia. You can use whatever you want. I like a little bit of these and the nuts. I think it gives it a little something. I really like the fruit. The fruit is super good. The blueberries, in my opinion, are the best, but I've made them with raspberries before too. So it just kind of depends on what you like in a muffin. But I'm gonna make these different because I already have some fruit. So I don't do a lot. I just sort of sprinkle in some of those. And then earlier, I got my aggressions out by taking walnuts, putting them in a baggie, and then beating it while singing angry rock music. It was awesome. So if you're feeling a little pent up anger and frustration, you can you just beat yourself some nuts in the kitchen, and then stick them in some muffins. It'll be great. It's a good time. All right, so I'm just gonna add these in. I like walnuts for muffins. I like the flavor. You can probably use any one you want, but I find for baking, walnuts are a really good choice. My grandmother always used walnuts in her banana bread, and Ma was the best baker I know. So Ma is the one who I would spend hours. My grandmother had the coolest kitchen. She probably didn't think so, but I thought it was, because her bar stools were like super old school and they were all cushioned. So when you sat in them, they were comfortable. So you could sit in her on her bar stools for hours, and I did. And she had like a peninsula, and so her whole kitchen was was a show. So imagine you're me sitting on this super comfortable chair, and Ma was me, and she would make all these cool desserts, and she made all the desserts for every holiday. And we're Italian, so we had sometimes 30 to 50 people because everyone brought somebody. And so growing up, Ma would make all the desserts. And for Easter, which I'm really bummed that I'm not going to be able to make it this Easter. So Mom, we're going to have to figure something out, because I know that I would really like to make this, and I would really like to be able to maybe tweak the recipe to make it less sugar. But she made something, we call it pizza ragat, but I'm sure it has like a fancy real Italian name, but we didn't speak real Italian. We spoke the Italian version of Spanglish. So she would make it every Easter, and it was basically like ricotta cheese, sweetened up and then put into a crust. It was real thin, and it was so good. That was Easter. And then at Christmas, she would go crazy. She baked everything. But every time her bananas went bad, she would bake a banana bread, and she would always add walnuts to her banana bread. So I do now. And I did buy, so my oven broke. And it's a beautiful oven. It's a double oven. It's great. But it doesn't work. The temperature gauge is messed up, and I'm sure I can fix it if I YouTubed it, but I don't care enough because it's just me and my husband. So I have this little toaster oven right here, and it does the job. So what I do, because I cannot get a full muffin tin into the toaster oven, I bought these. And these are good for the environment. See, I can offset my carbon footprint. These things are super cool. They're silicone. They're muffin like cups. And I like them because when you go to take your muffin out of the oven, they just pop right out. I don't have to use anything, no nonstick anything, because they're silicone or whatever. I think they're silicone, like baking grade. And then because the muffins have peanut butter, that has an oil in it, so you don't have to grease your pan or tin or anything. But I love these things. These things are great. So I'm going to cut myself off just a little. See, I still have more. I'm going to make probably I'm thinking with these, I'm going to make like a waffle or something. I don't know yet. I'm thinking a banana waffle sounds really good for breakfast. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this. So we're going to just move that, and then there we go. All right, so when I load this up, I'm going to actually do it this way. I just take them and I fill them kind of full, almost to the top. Whoops. No. There you go. So I fill these up, and I just put them to the side, and that way I have them all full while while some are baking. I could do something else, because this, unlike my rice, this has a timer, so I'm not going to burn my kitchen down this time. I'm telling you. Whew. Things have been crazy. Crazy. All right. So I was trying to figure out, because I thought it would be fun to I have old school Nintendo. Let's just push this a little bit. I have old school Nintendo stuff, and I thought, oh my gosh, it would be so fun if I could stream myself playing old Nintendo. But my television is ancient, the one I have in my office, and my laptop, I don't know if it would be able to stream. So I asked Aaron to look at it for me, but he's not sure. So he's going to take a look, because I think that would be fun. I think it would be fun to hang out, especially because a lot of my kids, they're not popping into Google Classroom. Not that I can blame them. there are days I don't want to pop into Google Classroom, quite frankly. And also, it would teach me a different technique on YouTube. So I thought that would be fun. Because I'm thinking next year it would be good if I could learn how to stream on YouTube. And I mentioned this before, but stream on YouTube so that I can put my lectures and my classes online. And if I can figure out how to do it so the kids aren't in the shot, then I'm not violating any privacy things. So probably they make those ring light / phone holders. I have to find somebody who's like Instagrammy or whatever. So maybe they can teach me their ways. And so that's it. So I think I'm going to figure out how to do that because that would be fun. That way if kids are absent or for whatever reason, they could check out the YouTube channel. And I know that there's a way to make my YouTube stuff not public. So if it was something that I didn't want everyone to be able to comment or talk to, not that I'm going to have some massive following, teacher makes muffins in kitchen during the plague. 5,000 people subscribe. Doubtful. But anyway, if I wanted to put something up and not have it public, I can do that and then just share the link with kids. I could turn off comments. But I don't teach younger kids anymore. So most of the kids that I teach they're not going to troll their teacher on the internet. I mean, that's lame, right? Who wants to troll their teacher on the internet? How boring is your life if the highlight of your day is trolling your teacher on YouTube? I think that speaks more to the people who are trolling than it does to me. Also, you may notice, I don't know if you do, because not everyone pays attention, but I have no makeup on. My skin is absolutely loving not having makeup on, so much that I may just go without makeup for the rest of the year here, because it's refreshing. It is refreshing to just do my skincare and not worry about how much stuff I'm slathering on my face. So that will be good. And then I was going to do for one of the Saturday schools, the last Saturday school that got canceled, I was going to do a dress for success. So I think I'm going to take that to here. I think I'm going to do a dress for success YouTube video, either live so people can talk, or I'll just make one. And then that way, those of you who are going to college, getting jobs, which are probably almost all of you, you'll be able to look at the video and get tips for how to dress and be professional. Because honestly, that's not something you just know. Being professional and dressing professionally, that's not something you just wake up one day and go, oh yeah, I totally know how to do this. So if nobody teaches you, then how will you know? I know when I got my first job and I was going to my first interviews, my mom is the one who would always tell us what we should wear and how we should look. And then back when I was in school, when dinosaurs roamed the earth and Daria was on MTV, we had a class that was all about like jobs. It was you took it when you got a work permit, and that was what they taught you, which is awesome. Like, why don't we have that anymore? We need that. We need that back. So anyway, I'll put something up like that. But all right, so I am to the end of my batter, and these muffins take 15 minutes to bake. And quite frankly, I don't think anybody wants to hang out with me and listen to my stories for 15 more minutes just to see the finished product. So I will go ahead and I'll publish this video, and then underneath it in the comment section, I will show you what the muffins turn out like. I'll put a picture if I can. I think I can do that. I'll figure it out. Put it on like a page. There's got to be a way. I'll figure it out. But I'll put the finished product up on the internet. But that's it. That was my muffins. They're going to get popped into my toaster oven at 350 degrees for 15 minutes, give or take.
and then they'll get cool, and then we'll eat them, and they're delicious. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys had a good time. I hope I could take your mind off of things for, 35 minutes. Oh my goodness, time goes fast when we're chatting and making muffins. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.